What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Oak Tree Football channel, and in today's video I'm going to be going over my top 10 quarterbacks in the SEC. Now, it's been a while since I did a quarterback or position ranking video, but I'm going to be doing another one today, and I'm going to be doing these a little more commonly now, especially because some conferences are canceling their out-of-conference games, and the scheduling is just a big question. It's just a big question mark at the moment, so I'm going to be doing some other things than I have been on the channel recently, and today, like I said, I'm going to be doing ranking, in my opinion, the top 10 quarterbacks in the SEC. Now, before I say anything, I just want to say this is based off how I think these players will play this season, not based off how good I think they are. So, at number one, just because the player's at number one, it doesn't necessarily mean I think they're the best quarterback in the SEC. It just means I think they'll have the best season this year. Now, in my opinion, the SEC is the best conference in college football. Last year, we had the Heisman Trophy winner in the SEC, which, of course, was Joe Burrow. He had a great season. And there are some other good quarterbacks in the SEC this year. So this was a pretty tough list to make, to really narrow it down to the top 10 and decide the order. But let's just get into this list. Starting at number 10. We're at number 10. I have Rhys Plumlee, the quarterback from Ole Miss. Now, I do feel there's a possibility Plumlee could be even better than I predict him to play, but I feel it's safer to have him lower on this list. Ole Miss probably won't be great. I think they'll be fine, but definitely nothing special in my opinion this year. But I do think Plumlee can actually be pretty good. He's not the official starter yet. I'm pretty sure that's not official, but I do think eventually he will earn the job. He wasn't a great passer last season, as you can see from the stats. Only 910 pass yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. But in limited play time as a rusher, he was brilliant. Had over 1,000 rush yards, 12 touchdowns. That's great. You can only imagine how many yards he'll get on the ground if he's actually the starter for the whole season. And if he develops as a passer, he's going to be a very good quarterback. So I think that we will see struggles from Rhys Plumlee, especially early in the year. But if he keeps that starting job for the whole season, if he can keep developing as a passer, it should be a good year for Rhys Plumlee, in my opinion. He's a pretty underrated quarterback. I honestly could have moved him up higher, but he is a guy that I'm not completely sure will be great this year, which is why I have him at number 10. Moving on to number 9, we're at number 9. I have Terry Wilson. Now, I could 100% see Terry Wilson prove me wrong and actually be a very good quarterback this season. I'm just not sure if that'll be the case. He missed the entirety of last season because of injury, and there will most definitely be struggles this year. He wasn't all that good in 2018 anyway. And Kentucky is losing one of their best offensive playmakers, Lynn Bowden. I just feel like, I could absolutely see Terry Wilson being a very good quarterback this season, but he was injured all of last year. Look at his stats from 2018 as well. They weren't the best. I know he was a first-year player, but still, I think it's going to be tough. I almost put Terry Wilson at 10, but I give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's playing for a good team, so I placed him up at 9. Terry Wilson's an interesting player. He's going to be someone to watch out for this season. He's a player that I could see doing either good or bad. Right now I have him kind of in the middle at number 9. Moving on to number 8, and at number 8 I have Tennessee quarterback Jarrett Guarantano. Now, I don't think Jarrett Guarantano will be great this season by any means, but I think he will be good enough to land in the top 10. And of course, I have my number 8. I think Tennessee can be pretty good this season, and at times Guarantano will probably be a pretty good quarterback. But I guarantee there will be struggles from Guarantano. His passing stats weren't anything special last year. They were just okay, and his rushing stats just weren't good. So he needs to get a little better as a passer, absolutely. But the touchdown-interception ratio, I think he didn't throw too many interceptions, but that touchdown number could go up. So could the yards. But I think it will be an okay season for Guarantano this year. I just think that Tennessee's going to be pretty good, and I think he'll play fine this season. Nothing special, but definitely not a bad quarterback. Moving on to number 7, and at number 7, I have LSU quarterback Myles Brennan. I actually think Brennan will be pretty good this year. There's just a lot more good quarterbacks in the SEC. I'll talk more about that later. There's just a lot of good quarterbacks in the SEC. So I have him at number 7. There is some pressure on him because he needs to replace Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow. But I think he will have a respectable first year as a starter for LSU. LSU absolutely has some good talent, especially on that offense with Jamar Chase at the wide receiver. So we should see some bright spots from Brennan this season. LSU has a pretty good offense. I mean, they have a solid running game, and their passing game absolutely can be good enough with Jamar Chase and a few other guys that can also be very good. LSU has one of the better receiving corps in the SEC. So, I mean, and Myles Brennan is playing with a good coach, obviously, with Ed Orgeron. He hasn't really done anything in his career up to this point. Only 600 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But I think he'll be okay this year. It's going to be tough for him to come in one season and play unbelievably good, and I guarantee he won't be as good as Joe Burrow. LSU is just losing a lot, but I still expect it to be a pretty good year for Myles Brennan. I think he can be a pretty good player this year, which is why I'm at 7. Moving on to number 6. Now, this one might surprise some people. At number 6, I have KJ Costello. Now, some people might disagree with me on this one. I know some people are a lot higher on Costello than I am, and I do think there's a possibility he can be a very good quarterback, but I just feel we'll 100% see some big struggles. He barely played last season at all, and he's on a new team with a new coach, with new players, not the best wide receiving group. That's just not good in one season. I mean, if he, especially with limited practices, if he could have some more practices, KJ Costello would guaranteed be higher. But he was pretty good in 2018, but missed 2019 for the most part. And he was at Stanford before, but transferred to Mississippi State. I just think there's definitely going to be some struggles with a new system, a new coach, a new team, not the best wide receivers. I just don't see him being as good as some people expect. Now, I could see Costello proving me wrong. He's definitely been good in the past, but currently I have my number 6. Moving on to number 5. This one, some people might not agree with me on this one either. At number 5, I have Alabama quarterback Mac Jones. Some people might disagree with me on this one as well, but I just think there's going to be some struggles for Mac Jones. I don't think it'll be terrible, especially with the receiving targets. Yes, he has some great receiving targets. In my opinion, Alabama has the best receiving corps in the SEC. But he wasn't anything special when he played last year. He definitely wasn't bad, but he 100% could have been better. And I just don't think he'll be the best Tagovailoa replacement. He's not going to be as good as Tua was. I'm just not as high on him as some other people are. I still think he's going to be a good quarterback. I was really considering putting him up at 4 because I could absolutely see him being better than this. But I don't see him being anything all that special. And also, I think Alabama will utilize the running game a lot more this year with Najee Harris. He just hasn't been given as many carries as he probably should have the past few years. So, I mean, I think it'll be a pretty good year for Mac Jones, but in the SEC, I don't think he's going to be the best quarterback. Moving on to number 4, and at number 4, I have Texas A&M quarterback Kellen Mond. Now, I was considering putting Kellen Mond one spot lower than this in number 5 and moving Mac Jones up, but I think he will have a really good season this year. There's definitely talent on the Texas A&M roster, and in my opinion, Mond will have some big improvements. He's one of the most experienced. I believe he is the most experienced quarterback in the SEC, and that should help him out, help him have a big year. He was not great last year. He wasn't, but I really do think he will have a pretty good season this year. He'll improve from where he was last year, and I think we can see a good year from Kellen Mond. I don't feel like we'll see a Heisman-type season from him. I mean, maybe he'll be the Joe Burrow dark horse candidate. I just don't really feel like that. But he's a good rusher. He's a solid passer. It could definitely be a great season for Mond, and I currently have him at number 4. Moving on to number 3. This one might surprise some people as well. At number 3, I have Bo Nix from Auburn. In my opinion, Nix could either be like a lot better than this, or he could just be worse. Auburn, Seth Williams will probably be a very good receiver for them, and I think Nix can be a very good quarterback. I understand some people will think he should be lower, but some people might think he'll be higher. He was not great last year. I'm saying it, he just was not that good. But I think there could be a serious improvement, and he could be a dark horse Heisman contender this season. He should get better as a rusher. He had 7 rushing touchdowns, 313 yards last year. He should get better as a rusher this season, but passing is where he really needs to step up. He only threw 16 touchdowns last season, only 6 interceptions. That's good, but he needs to throw some more touchdowns and some more yards too. If he can get those boxes checked, he could be a seriously good quarterback and someone to watch out for because he has the ability to run but also pass. So Bo Nix is the guy to look out for this season for Auburn. Auburn could absolutely have a big year, and I think Bo Nix would be a huge part of that. Moving on to number 2, and at number 2, I have Georgia quarterback Jamie Newman. Now, I originally did have Jamie Newman at number 1, but I decided to move him down to number 2. Now, some people think that Newman should be lower on this list, and I know some people think he won't be that great this season, but I think he'll be very good. He was pretty good for Wake Forest. He did struggle in some big games, that's true, but he's with a bigger college now with better coaching staffs, better receiving targets than Wake Forest. I think it's a possibility he'll even be a Heisman candidate. In my opinion, he's someone who can be either something special or just someone who's not that good this season. I'm leaning towards him being good at the moment, but I could absolutely see him struggling. We don't even know if he'll be the full-time starter at Georgia now that they brought in quarterback JT Daniels, but I think he will start, and I think he'll be pretty good. So if you look at those stats, nearly 3,000 passing yards, which is good. 26 touchdowns, that's pretty good. If it could be up to 30 this year, which is pretty good. So that's good there. 11 interceptions, that could get lower, but it's not terrible. And he was okay as a rusher as well. So Newman could be a serious threat this year. And like I said, I originally had him at 1, but I just feel like it's not the safest bet because he's a player that could go either way. But number 1 is a player I think will be good no matter what, unless he gets injured. And that player is Florida Gators quarterback Kyle Trask. I think Kyle Trask will be a fantastic quarterback this year. He plays on a good offense with lots of good receiving targets, especially now that Florida doesn't have the best running back, doesn't have the best running game. We should see a lot more passing, and Trask is a good enough quarterback to get the job done. He was kind of forced into that playing time last year, and he actually played pretty well. 2,941 pass yards, 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. In limited playing time, not very limited, but still, he missed a few games early in the season, and he was originally the backup, so these numbers are really good now that he's going to be the full-time starter, especially because he's been on this team. That's one reason I put him above Newman, because Newman's on a new team with limited practices. That's going to hurt. Kyle Trask has been on this team for a few years now. He knows the system that this team plays, and it should be a good year for Kyle Trask in Florida, which is why I have him at number 1. So those were my top 10 quarterbacks in the SEC for this season. What are your guys' top 10 quarterbacks? Tell me in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. And if you are new around here, feel free to subscribe for more daily NFL and college football content. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you guys in the next video.